Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news of widely varying data out overnight. Retail sales in the US rose strongly, up 4.1% from the week before and down only 0.6% from the same week a year ago. This was the closest they've come to a year-on-year gain since before the pandemic. And new home sales rose far more than expected in July, in fact to an all-time record high for any month, and that's an impressive 36% more than the same month in 2019. But despite these two positive bits of data, American consumers are feeling downcast in August, and much more so than analysts were expecting. In fact, analysts had expected improving consumer sentiment, but apparently that's not the case. This measure is now at a 6-year low. Maybe consumers are overdoing the gloom somewhat. The latest regional Fed survey from the Mid-Atlantic states area shows factories making a small recovery in employment, usually the laggard, trended higher, even if only marginally. But then again, maybe they're not. Banks are feeling the same gloom as consumers, with profits down 70% in the second quarter of 2020 than the same quarter a year ago. And these same banks took in a flood of new deposits, more than $1 trillion of additional money. That is a growing problem because even though they can hardly pay anything for that money, their net interest margin fell at a record rate to 2.81% and the lowest ever recorded. In Australia, NAB is forecasting unemployment there to peak at 9.6% early next year and fall only to 7.6% by the end of 2022. They're also bracing for a 10 to 15% fall in house prices, with the biggest falls in Sydney and Melbourne. And they'll also see steep price falls for commercial property, especially retail and office space in the Sydney and Melbourne CBDs. None of this will encourage banks to lend unless customer deposits are substantial. The US Treasury 10-year yield is up 4 basis points at 0.69%. The price of gold has fallen again overnight, down another $9 to $1,920 an ounce. And oil prices have risen overnight, but by less than $1. They're now just under $43.50 a barrel in the US, while the international price has lifted to just on $45.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is unchanged yet again at 65.4 US cents. Against the Australian dollar, we're basically unchanged too at 91.1 Australian cents, and against the euro, the story is similar at 55.3 euro cents. That means our trade weight index is still at 68.5 and still in a stable range. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.